Pamela Baricuatro versus Gwen Garcia. A 2025 political earthquake in Cebu. The end of an era. On May 12, 2025, a political tidal wave swept through the province of Cebu. After decades of near-unchallenged dominance, the Garcia political dynasty suffered its most devastating blow. Gwen Garcia, often called the Iron Lady of Cebu, and a six-term governor, was soundly defeated by political neophyte Pam Baricuatro, a former flight attendant and food bank founder, who had never before held an elected post. In a landslide victory, Baricuatro amassed over 1.1 million votes, decisively eclipsing Garcia's 765,000, capturing a staggering 61% of the vote. But the numbers only tell part of the story. More than a simple electoral upset, this seismic shift signified a deeper public yearning, a rebuke of dynastic power, a demand for transparency, and a mandate for reform, especially in long-neglected sectors like healthcare and social services. The tale of two leaders, old power versus new promise. Gwen Garcia, a veteran with a controversial legacy. Gwen Garcia's name is virtually synonymous with Cebu politics. Daughter of the late Governor Pablo Garcia, she first took office as governor in 2004 and served until 2013, later returning from 2019 to 2025. Her tenure was marked by aggressive infrastructure development, tourism promotion, and a no-nonsense leadership style that earned her the nickname Iron Lady. But Garcia's legacy has long been polarizing. Critics often pointed to her autocratic tendencies, nepotistic appointments, and a lack of meaningful investment in provincial healthcare. Her administration was marred by several controversies. In 2012, she was slapped with a 6-month preventive suspension for overstepping her authority in appointing officials. She faced graft charges linked to the construction of the Cebu International Convention Center and questionable land acquisitions, although these were eventually dismissed. Her leadership, while praised for road and tourism projects, was widely criticized for neglecting essential services like hospitals and rural clinics. Pamela Baricuatro, the outsider who reshaped Cebu. In sharp contrast stood Pamela Baricuatro, a political newcomer whose grassroots credentials included leading the Simply Share Food Bank and serving on the Land Bank Board. Initially underestimated, she soon emerged as a formidable force in the race, combining genuine community work, charisma, and a campaign rooted in service-oriented governance. Running on a platform that emphasized universal healthcare access, social welfare, and anti-dynastic politics, she branded herself as the people's governor. Despite lacking the machinery typical of seasoned political families, she galvanized a large coalition of young voters, grassroots volunteers, and disillusioned citizens, many of whom were moved by her authenticity and promises of reform. Even more striking was her strategic alliance with political heavyweights, including former President Rodrigo Duterte and Vice President Sara Duterte, whose support significantly boosted her credibility and visibility. Rising tensions, the tumultuous transition of power, a rocky road to inauguration. Pam Baricuatro's transition to office was far from smooth. On May 19, transition teams from both camps were formed, but Baricuatro quickly accused Garcia's team of stonewalling, alleging that critical documents were withheld and department heads were instructed not to cooperate. Her legal counsel, Edmund Lau, stated that multiple requests for documentation were ignored. Even as the July 1 turnover date loomed, the Department of the Interior and Local Government, DILG, normally a neutral party, was also accused by Baricuatro of leaning toward Garcia, further inflaming the already fraught transition. Garcia's protest and political sabotage allegations. On June 3, Garcia filed a formal electoral protest with Comelec, citing software errors and potential vote manipulation in over 4,100 precincts. Baricuatro, in turn, dismissed the move as absurd and baseless, branding it an attempt to distract from her looming governance responsibilities. Compounding tensions was a pre-inauguration move by Garcia to allocate trust funds to 15 provincial programs, a maneuver Baricuatro called political sabotage. She argued it was designed to limit the incoming administration's financial flexibility and labeled it as undermining democratic norms. Ceremony without closure. On June 30, during the ceremonial turnover at the capital, Garcia was conspicuously absent, though Baricuatro took the snub in stride. Offering conciliatory remarks and emphasizing unity, her message was clear. Reconciliation would not come at the expense of transparency or accountability. She officially assumed office on July 1st, immediately launching personnel reviews, initiating budget audits, and signaling her intent to purge the bureaucracy of political favoritism. The fall of a dynasty and the dawn of reform. The Garcia family's downfall was not limited to Gwen. Multiple family members, including Cebu City Mayor Raymond Alvin Garcia, lost their posts as voters across the province rejected the family's long grip on power. Baricuatro's victory became a symbol of civic awakening. Her campaign capitalized on long-standing frustrations over issues like healthcare deterioration, lack of transparency, and provincial neglect. Her background outside politics, her humanitarian roots, and her fresh-faced approach presented a sharp contrast to the Garcia family's storied but scandal-ridden reign. Challenges ahead. Governing beyond the ballot. Institutional barriers. Baricuatro must now govern an institution largely populated by Garcia appointees. Her plan to evaluate thousands of job order personnel is likely to stir unrest. Building coalitions with legislative counterparts and retaining technocratic talent will be essential to avoid a paralyzed administration. The shadow of legal battles. Garcia's electoral protest could drag on for months, creating uncertainty that might undermine public confidence. How Baricuatro navigates this legal terrain, asserting authority while respecting judicial processes, will define her political maturity. Fiscal transparency and budget scrutiny. The matter of trust funds will test Baricuatro's commitment to transparency. She has promised forensic audits of all outgoing transactions. Observers await her administration's first moves on financial accountability, which could set the tone for a clean, or compromised, governance legacy. Public voices. Echoes of discontent and hope. Online communities, especially on platforms like Reddit, amplified frustrations with the outgoing administration. One notable post speculated that Doc Wee, a prominent Garcia critic, was poisoned while in detention. A chilling rumor reflecting widespread distrust. Another commenter lamented, during Davide's time, LGU hospitals had plenty of doctors. Under Gwen, even Camotes only has one on-call doctor. Such sentiments reveal how Baricuatro's healthcare message hit home, and how public perception of Garcia's governance sharply eroded, especially in rural communities. Lessons and looking forward. The fragility of dynasties. Garcia's fall illustrates that no political dynasty is invincible. When public service falters, even well-oiled political machines can unravel in the face of authentic reformist movements. Institutions over individuals. The transition exposed glaring weaknesses in provincial governance and institutional independence. DILG's role, or lack thereof, drew fire and highlighted the need to insulate governance from political influence. Reform over rhetoric. Baricuatro's win suggests that populist messaging rooted in basic services and community care can defeat entrenched political elites, so long as it's backed by action, not just words. Leadership under the microscope. Now in office, Baricuatro must transform campaign promises into real policies. Transparent audits, inclusive staffing, and improved services will be necessary to prove that her victory was not just symbolic, but truly transformational. Conclusion. A new chapter for Cebu. Pamela Baricuatro's ascent is more than just a stunning political upset. It's a turning point in Philippine provincial politics. Her victory dismantled a political dynasty, spotlighted the demand for healthcare reform, and ushered in an era of service-first governance. The road ahead is neither smooth nor guaranteed. Institutional resistance, pending legal disputes, and political rivalries loom large. But Baricuatro carries a powerful mandate, and with it, the hopes of a population hungry for transparency, empathy, and real progress. Will she rise to the occasion and deliver on the sweeping promises that led her to victory? Or will her administration succumb to the same pitfalls that have plagued those before her? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. Cebu has spoken, and it has chosen change. We bring you compelling stories that redefine leadership, power, and public service. Pamela Baricuatro's stunning victory is more than a local story. It's a beacon of transformation that echoes across the nation. Stay with us as we continue to spotlight icons, trailblazers, and changemakers reshaping our world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into today's most important personalities. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired.